Today we're breaking down one of the most confusing realities in modern dating. Why women become more attracted to the man who walks away. A lot of men don't understand this. They believe that if you show a woman how much you care, stay consistent, stay patient, and prove your devotion, eventually she'll reward your effort. But in many cases, the opposite happens. The more you stick around, the less she values you. The moment you pull back, suddenly her interest spikes. Welcome back to the channel, where we teach men how to see the dynamics most people never talk about. Because what we're dealing with here isn't about logic or fairness, it's about human nature. Attraction isn't built on constant availability. It's built on desire, uncertainty, and perceived value. When you walk away, when you show her that you're not dependent on her attention, that your world moves with or without her, you trigger a completely different emotional response inside her. You're no longer the man chasing her. You become the man she feels she could lose. And loss is one of the most powerful emotional triggers there is. In this video, I'm going to teach you exactly why walking away often flips the dynamic in your favor. We'll break down the psychology behind why it works, what mistakes most men make, and how you can position yourself as the man she doesn't want to lose, instead of the man she tolerates. Let's get into it. 1. Chasing lowers your value. One of the biggest reasons women lose interest in men is because they start chasing. And the moment you start chasing, your value in her eyes drops. Fast. When a man chases, he signals that he needs her more than she needs him. He becomes the one seeking approval, waiting for attention, and trying to prove he's worth her time. This flips the natural dynamic completely. Instead of her seeing you as a high-value man who has options, she starts to view you as another guy willing to do anything just to win her over. That desperation kills attraction. Attraction thrives on strength, confidence, and emotional control. When you chase, you lose all three. You're constantly responding to her mood, her schedule, and her behavior. You make yourself available at her convenience, hoping that your effort will somehow make her choose you. But women aren't attracted to men who beg for their attention. They're drawn to men who know their worth, who are selective, and who don't hand out their energy freely. A man who chases is telling her, without saying a word, that she's the prize and he's hoping to be chosen. That's not attractive. That's weak. Imagine you meet a woman, and after a few good conversations, she starts pulling back slightly. Maybe she takes longer to reply or cancels plans. The average man starts texting more, calling more, trying harder to fix the situation. He believes more effort will turn things around. Instead, all it does is show her that he's more invested than she is. She feels no tension, no mystery, no reason to pursue, because he's doing all the work for her. Now flip the scenario. She pulls back, and you calmly pull back as well. You don't chase, you don't beg, you simply match her energy. Suddenly, she's not sure where she stands with you. She starts thinking about you more. She wonders why you're not reacting like every other guy. That uncertainty sparks curiosity, and curiosity leads to renewed interest. The more you chase, the more she pulls away. The less you chase, the more space you give her to feel your absence. And that absence is often where attraction grows. Men need to stop thinking that effort equals attraction. It doesn't. Strength equals attraction. Self-respect equals attraction. And the man who refuses to chase instantly separates himself from the crowd. 2. Her mind reacts to distance. Women are emotionally wired to respond to distance in a very specific way. When you pull back, when you create space, something shifts in her mind. She starts thinking about you more, questioning her own feelings, and wondering why you're not chasing her like most men would. This isn't a trick or a game. It's simply how human psychology works. When something feels slightly out of reach, the mind becomes more focused on it. The space you create isn't empty to her. It's filled with unanswered questions. Why isn't he calling? Why hasn't he reached out? Has he lost interest? That uncertainty keeps you active in her thoughts. Most men don't allow this process to happen. The moment they sense distance from a woman, they panic. They rush to fill the silence, afraid of losing her. But by doing that, they interrupt the very natural process that could have drawn her closer. Women need that space to feel the emotional tension that makes them question what they're feeling. Without that space, there's no room for her desire to grow. Distance also triggers a sense of value. When you pull back, you demonstrate that your attention isn't given away for free. You show that you have your own life, your own priorities, and that you're not dependent on her for emotional fulfillment. That self-control makes her see you as more desirable because you're not trying to force anything. Women are used to men who over-pursue. The guy who stays calm and allows her to come to him stands out. She begins to view him as someone who operates from strength, not desperation. That contrast is powerful because it creates an emotional tension she doesn't get from men who are always available. Distance also allows her to feel a form of loss, even if temporary. The possibility that you might actually move on makes her reassess your value. She starts to fear losing access to you, which increases her emotional investment. It's important to understand that this reaction isn't always instant. Sometimes it takes time for her to feel the absence and start reflecting on what she might lose. But the key is allowing that distance to work in your favor without interfering. When you stay calm, give space, and maintain your self-respect, you allow her natural instincts to take over. Her mind does the work for you. The more she wonders about you, the more emotionally engaged she becomes. And that emotional engagement is what makes her start pursuing you instead. 3. Loss creates urgency. One of the most powerful emotional triggers in any person, but especially in women, is the fear of loss. When a woman senses that she may lose access to you, her entire mindset shifts. What once felt casual or safe suddenly becomes urgent. She starts questioning whether she made the right decisions and begins feeling pressure to act before it's too late. The fear of losing something valuable creates a completely different kind of desire than simply having it easily available. This is where many men go wrong. They believe that constantly being present, always reaching out, and showing consistent interest will make her appreciate them more. But in reality, it often has the opposite effect. When she knows you'll always be there no matter how she acts, there's no urgency for her to invest or commit. Loss forces her to reconsider everything. When you pull back and she realizes you're willing to walk away, it breaks the comfort zone she's been living in. She's no longer in full control of the situation. Suddenly, she starts wondering if someone else will get your attention, if you've found someone better, or if you finally stopped waiting for her. These thoughts create emotional pressure, and that pressure often sparks stronger feelings than your constant presence ever could. Women naturally value what feels scarce. When you were always available, she didn't have to think about losing you. The moment you demonstrate that you're not afraid to step back and let her go, she feels that scarcity deeply. Now, your time, attention, and energy aren't guaranteed, and that makes them far more valuable in her eyes. This urgency doesn't mean she instantly panics or comes running back every time. Sometimes it works slowly, eating at her thoughts over days or weeks. But that growing fear of loss keeps you in her mind. The uncertainty makes her replay the moments she had with you, question why you've distanced yourself, and wonder if she needs to act before you fully slip away. Most men never give women the opportunity to experience this kind of emotional urgency because they're too scared to step back. They fear that if they pull away, she'll simply move on. But the reality is, your willingness to walk away often triggers a level of respect and desire that chasing never will. The key is to allow her to feel that sense of loss while you remain calm, centered, and focused on your own life. You don't need to play games or create fake distance. Simply stop over-investing when she's not matching your energy. That space gives her mind room to recognize what she's risking by not choosing you. When she feels that urgency, the dynamic shifts completely. Now she's the one questioning, investing, and pursuing. Not because you forced it, but because the emotional pressure of potential loss made her wake up. 4. Men who stay become replaceable. Another lesson men need to learn is that staying too long in a situation where a woman isn't fully investing makes you lose value fast. The more you stick around without seeing clear effort from her side, the easier it becomes for her to view you as just another option. And once she sees you that way, you become completely replaceable in her mind. Many men think that by sticking it out, by being loyal, patient, and always available, they're proving their worth. They believe that the longer they stay, the more she'll appreciate them. But in reality, staying too long in these situations usually has the opposite effect. Instead of valuing your loyalty, she becomes comfortable with your presence and assumes you'll always be there, no matter what she does. The moment a woman feels she has guaranteed access to you, she stops seeing you as a man she needs to secure. You're no longer a challenge, no longer a man of options, no longer a man she needs to earn. You're just there, always available, always waiting, always hoping. And that image strips you of the very qualities that create strong attraction in the first place. Attraction is built on value and tension. When you stay in her life without requiring equal investment, she knows she doesn't have to work for your attention. She can keep you around while entertaining other options, knowing you won't walk away. This makes her emotionally lazy because she has no fear of losing you. And without that fear, her attraction fades. The more available you are, the more predictable you become. Predictability feels safe, but safety rarely triggers deep desire. Women desire men who hold themselves to a standard, men who won't sit around waiting for someone to make up their mind. That strength communicates high value because it shows you respect yourself enough not to accept half-hearted effort. This is why you'll often see women chase the man who was willing to walk away, while showing little interest in the man who stayed. The one who left maintained his self-respect and emotional independence. The one who stayed signaled that his self-worth depended on her choices. As a man, you have to recognize when your presence has turned into a comfort zone for her. If she's not meeting your effort, if she's stringing you along, if she's showing minimal interest while keeping you emotionally invested, you're becoming replaceable without even realizing it. The strongest position you can take is knowing when to walk away. By doing so, you force her to confront the reality of losing you. If she truly values you, that fear will push her to step up. If she doesn't, then you've protected yourself from wasting more time. Remaining too long isn't loyalty, it's self-sabotage. Respect yourself enough to leave before you become another man she easily replaces.